Welcome to WHONEEDSREALITY.com and our inaugural web show. We are the newest and soon-to-be greatest site in fantasy football news and advice. I'm Joe Rapola, and I'm here with Michael Cattermole, who's not only our NCAA guru, but also our fantasy sports expert to help you win your league.
First hot topic. The Patriots cut defensive tackle Albert Hainsworth.
He's gone.
What a bum. The dude signed a $100 million contract in 2009, but he couldn't even get in shape to pass fitness tests. I did fitness tests in middle school.
It's a waste of money, just like Kim Kardashian's wedding. It's over after 72 days, but Reggie Bush is looking awfully revitalized, isn't he, Mikey?
Kim K's single, and Reggie wants to impress. Last week he put up 92 yards with a TD and 3 receptions for 50 yards.
Yeah, he's looking good in Miami. Things are looking bright for Reggie's future. And finally, the third hot topic, the media golden boy, Mr. Tim Tebow. Excuse us, we had to think, we had to pray for a little bit. Tim Tebow's looking good, he's been playing well for the Broncos, and he's now 2-1 as a starter with them. Mikey, what can you say about him?
He might not be an NFL quarterback, but he can be my quarterback for fantasy football any day.
Yeah, over or under 20 points this week for Tim Tebow?
Over.
Over 20,
definitely.
Over 20 points. Mikey's making the call. You got to go by him. Another quarterback we like this week is Carson Palmer. In his 1.5 games as an Oakland Raiders starter, he's thrown for 448 yards, 3 TDs, and 6 picks. It's kind of ugly, but fantasy-wise, he's putting up the numbers to help your team out. Another quarterback we like is Phillip Rivers. Why is that, Mikey?
We like Phillip Rivers because he's going against the Raiders' defense. They haven't been playing too well lately after Jason Campbell went down earlier in the season. And now, I think it'll be a big shootout between the two.
Yeah. You gotta like that Thursday night game to be a high-scoring matchup. Another quarterback I definitely like is Tony Romo. He had 279 yards and 2 touchdowns last week versus a pretty tough Seattle defense. What was really impressive about that game was his passer rating of over 112. I think Romo will fare even better this week against Buffalo, who appears to be heading back towards reality. Who needs reality, though, after all? Another quarterback we like is Brady. Why do we like Brady?
We don't like Brady, first of all.
No,
Brady's playing the Jets, and the Jets have one of the best passing defenses in the league. And Brady just hasn't been Brady. Lately, just lost that swag he used to have.
Yeah,
Got 3 TDs, just
cut his hair.
Shoe.
Yeah, at least he goes home to a pretty woman every night. Another quarterback we definitely don't like this week is Eli Manning. Eli Manning's going up against the 49ers defense, which has been number 1 in the league, tied with the Ravens, and has allowed the lowest points for any defense against its opponents. I think Eli's going to struggle this week versus the 49ers defense with 19 takeaways and 22 sacks this season. It's getting real in Candlestick Park. Let's move on to the running backs. Mikey?
Running backs. First running back we like, Darren McFadden's hurt, so we like his backup, Michael Bush. Look for him to get big carries without DMC in the lineup. Next running back we like, another Dallas Cowboy, DeMarco Murray.
DeMarco Murray's been looking good. Apparently there's a new article out now saying he's a little like Eric Dickerson. Whatever that means. But Murray's been looking hot in his 2 starts, even given the minimal amount of carries he had, and I think versus the Buffalo defense, he's going to run all over them, and Dallas is going to use him to their full extent.
Another running back we like is Denver Bronco Willis McGahee.
What do we talk about Willis?
Willis McGahee has been running real aggressive option attack with none other than Tim Tebow.
Excuse us once again, we have to pray.
He's been looking really good in that rushing attack.
Yeah.
Next, running backs we don't like. D'Angelo Williams.
Drop him.
Drop him now. Cam Newton gets all the red zone carries, and Jonathan Stewart out of Oregon has been getting a lot of the carries.
The name doesn't mean what it used to. D'Angelo Williams, you can drop him from your bench. Another running back we'd suggest to sit, but not exactly drop, is LeGarrette Blount. I don't think he's fully healthy yet, and I think the Buccaneers are just playing him since Ernest Graham is out for the season. I think LeGarrette Blount still needs a few weeks to get his full swagger back, and we'll have to see if he even does. Let's move on to the wide receivers. And we'll start with wide receivers that we like. One of them, Vincent Jackson. He's coming off a huge game where he had 3 touchdowns. Phillip Rivers seems to have the chemistry with him, and he seems to be in good terms with the Chargers, which is a big plus for Jackson, who's had his issues in the past, contract-wise. Another receiver we like, Jordy Nelson. Why?
We like Jordy Nelson because the Packers have the most dynamic passing game in the league today. And Jordy Nelson is known to be a big threat type of player.
Yeah, don't be surprised with a 70-yard touchdown from Jordy Nelson. It could really happen any week at this point. Finally, Dwayne Bowe. The Chiefs looked awful last week in Miami, but I think they're going to get back to form. They're playing a pretty weak Denver defense, and I think Matt Castle is going to look Dwayne Bowe's way an awful amount. On to receivers we don't like. Hakeem Nicks. 49ers are just too good at defense. I think Eli's going to be throwing picks. I think the Giants are going to struggle. Another receiver we don't like, Plaxico Burress. Why, Mike? He's had 2 good games the past 2 weeks.
Well, Plaxico Burress, Spurs is a really streaky player. He's only a red zone threat, really.
Yeah, the 3-touchdown game was nice a few weeks ago against the Chargers, but we don't see it happen again versus the Patriots. We think the Patriots Jets is actually going to be a little bit of a defensive battle. And lastly, the wide receiver we don't like, Doug Baldwin.
What a boring name.
Sounds like a history teacher or something. But in all honesty, Doug Baldwin's been doing pretty good this season in Seattle, given the terrible quarterback situation. But this week, with the Ravens' defense being so good and the Seattle quarterback situation being so bad, Baldwin's going to have an off game. We can't recommend starting him. Let's move on to tight ends. We like Fred Davis, but another Davis we don't like?
Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis hasn't really been filling up the stat sheets like he's used to doing. And the Niners just aren't passing him that much.
Yeah, they're not a fantasy team. The Niners are winning, brute football games. A lot of defense, a lot of control in the offense. And Vernon Davis isn't the fantasy player he once was. But San Francisco's better, so who cares? Let's move on to the season MVPs. Da-da-da-da! Drum roll, please, Mikey. Who's the quarterback MVP? No surprises here.
Aaron Rodgers. Easy pick. No need to explain. His numbers say it all.
Yeah, he's been out of control, impressive. Running back, who are we giving it to?
Fred Jackson.
Yeah.
What a steal. If you were lucky enough to grab him in a late round pick,
He's just lucky enough to pick him up after the first week. What a surprise. We got to give it to him for the surprise factor that he's had this season. Wide receiver reward goes to?
Megatron.
He's doing all he can in Detroit. I mean, just every week, just week in and week out. I traded him second week of the season, and I shoot myself in the foot every week for it. And the tight end award?
Jimmy Graham. Real came out of nowhere pick this year.
Yeah.
Been really shining with the Saints offense and Drew Brees.
He's looking like a wide receiver at 6'6". He's just such a target for Brees to go to. And finally, the defensive award for the midseason?
The San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
Ted Ginn's looked great in the return game, and they're allowing the fewest points per game.
Yeah, another huge surprise, too. No one expected the 49ers to be 7-1 going into week 10 of the season. And finally, a new segment on the show, we're going to do a little over-unders with Mike Cattermole. He's going to make his picks, and if he's wrong, he's going to pay the price for it. Let's start off, Mikey. Andre Johnson in his return. Will he have over or under 95 receiving yards?
Under.
Under 95 receiving yards for Andre Johnson. But would you start him?
I would definitely start him, and he might get a touchdown, but right now I couldn't say over 95 yards. It's his first game back.
Let's give it some time. Megatron. Is he going to have another touchdown of over 50 yards? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, he is. All right. You heard it. Look for that bomb to Calvin Johnson. Aaron Rodgers, over or under 3.5 TDs?
Over.
Over 3.5 TDs.
He's been playing phenomenal, playing against a very weak Minnesota team. I think he'll really tear it up.
Look for more than 3.5 TDs from Aaron Rodgers, maybe 3.6 TDs. We'll see. Tim Tebow, over or under 20 fantasy points?
Liking the over right now. Said it 3 times in a row. Gonna say it again.
Over 20 fantasy points. Tim Tebow running the ball. And finally, the Oakland-San Diego Thursday night game. Is there going to be over or under 3 picks thrown in that game?
I already said it earlier in the show. Over 3 picks.
Over 3 picks. Phillip Rivers, Carson Palmer love to throw the ball. They don't care who they're throwing the ball to. Thank you all for tuning in. This is WHONEEDSREALITY.com bringing you the best fantasy football news and advice. Stay tuned for more updates. So long, Tim Tebow.